1 of Figaro's Follies. Scene 1, at your service. Setting. We are in the wardrobe room of a late 18th century Spanish castle near Seville. The room is placed between the 2 bedrooms of the Count and Countess Almaviva. There is a rather large chair used for barbering with a sheet folded over one arm. There is a side table with a brandy bottle and ornate goblets on it, as well as a quill pen, ink, and writing paper, and a large-scale deck of playing cards. On pegs on one side of the room are the Countess's mantillas and colorful parasols. On the other side are the Count's 3 identical cloaks, fully decorated with awards and ribbons from the king. Figaro enters in a harlequinesque modified livery costume, carrying a yellowed hemp clothesline and his guitar. He begins playing his guitar from a score on the table.
Lover, why art thou repining? Cast away thy sighs and whining. So far, not bad from a man about to disembowel his well-preserved bachelorhood on the altar of matrimony. Love and laziness each claim a part, both sharing my heart. No, fie on it, that will never do. There must be a conflict between the two. Love and laziness each claim a part, both contesting for my heart. Much better. Now, from the start. Lover, why art thou repining? Cast away thy sighs and whining. Love and laziness each claim a part, both contesting for my heart. I to each his portion gave. No injustice can be seen. For though I've made one my queen, to the other I am still a slave. Cast away thy sighs and whining, my dear lover, part. Happily embrace your loving, and for my laziness, what should I do with the lazy part? No matter, I have more pressing matters.
The rope perpendicularly across the room and opens the brandy bottle. He takes a swig out of it and then chooses one of the Countess's parasol. With the brandy bottle in one hand and the parasol in the other, he begins a tightrope walk across the room, carefully placing one foot in front of the other.
10, 11.
Susanna enters from the door leading to the Countess's bedroom and picks out one of the Countess's colorful mantillas to try on in front of a mirror.
The mirror just told me that this mantilla becomes me so. Doesn't it, Figaro?
23, 24.
Doesn't it, Figaro?
Oh, yes, it certainly does. Yes. 30, 31.
Look at me. Admire it. It gives me such pleasure when you look at me.
The mantilla?
Good so far. And what does the mantilla do?
It makes you look extraordinarily...
It makes me what?
It makes you look extraordinarily, fat.
Susanna takes down one of the parasols off the wall and starts poking Figaro with it.
I meant to say extraordinarily fantastic. Fantastic, yes. You better remove it before the Countess catches you.
Oh, not to worry. She said that I could pick one to wear at my wedding tomorrow. Oh, I meant to say our wedding, but that doesn't seem so likely to me right now. and I'm certainly not going to choose this one. The black ones are more slimming, don't you think? And maybe more appropriate to our nuptials. Have you ordered the marriage hearse yet?
Figaro falls to his knees, hugging her legs.
Oh, do not forsake me when my heart is beating with such anticipation on the threshold of love's richly laden pantry.
I'll forgive you just to stop you from poetizing. What were you so busy when I came in?
Measuring to see if the enormous bed down the hall, which our noble lord has so graciously promised to give us, will stand well here.
In this chamber.
That's why I'm measuring this chamber.
I won't lie in this chamber.
Why so?
I tell you, I won't lie in this chamber.
That's not a reason.
Well, what if I have no reason? What if I don't choose to give my reason?
So I should insult my master by refusing this honor because my wife-to-be chooses to give no reason? That is logic worthy of a wife.
Are you, or are you not, my most obedient, most humble servant?
Your slave. But wherefore take exception to the most convenient room in the whole house becoming our bedroom?
Yes, it is. The most convenient.
Yes, convenient is the word. If during the night milady should take it ill, she rings, ding dong and crack in 3 strips, and in 3 skips you are there, standing by her side. In the morning, when my lord awakens, ding dong he calls, I start and pop 3 skips, and I am there.
Very true. And a little later that morning, when my lord has sent you on some fine errand of an hour's duration, he starts from his bed as soon as Mr. Figaro's back is turned, and ding dong crack, in 3 convenient skips he? Yes, he.
He?
He! Do you not feel anything?
Horns bursting through my forehead and buttons sprouting like mushrooms suddenly in my stomach. Yes. It is a maddeningly convenient spot.
Remember how our liberal count appeared, abolishing a certain ancient tradition of the manor to honor his new wife, the countess?
Yes, of sleeping the first night with every new bride to verify her virginity. I would not have married even my most desired Susanna in such a domain.
But, Figaro, don't be fooled when the wolf puts on a sheepskin coat.
What are you suggesting?
Tired of stalking the wild beauties around the neighborhood, he has decided, like an invalid hunter, to shoot his penned-up game in his own garden from the comfort of his porch. Thus has he returned to his castle.
And to his wife.
And to thy wife. Let me be more direct. Our most generous lord told me that renouncing his one-night's droit de seigneur was a ruse to throw you off any suspicions that he was interested in pursuing me. He even joked that when he's made ambassador, you'll be elevated to royal courier, and more importantly, official cockerel to the count.
But he would so carelessly destroy my peace of mind for a little sport.
A little sport? That's not a very flattering comment about your future wife. Maybe he finds me irresistibly attractive. But did you really believe that the rich benefits he has suddenly showered down on us were your just rewards? What great fools you men of wit are. And a correction, bastards can't become counts.
Your trick, my most noble count, is common enough. 1,000 blundering boobies have art enough to filch a wife from the side of her sleeping spouse. But to turn the tables on the poacher, make him pay dearly for a delicious morsel he shall never taste, infect him with the wasp stings of jealousy and fears for his own honor, to boot him about the stable.
Now you are in your element. Purses and plots. But let him that diggeth the pit beware, lest he fall into it. Oh, my lady is awake. I must run, for she has strictly charged me to be the first at her bedside today.
Why the first?
Old wives tell us that to first meet a young bride is lucky to a neglected wife. And I have another secret to arm you with. The countess is still a virgin. She told me that the count lost any passionate interest in her the instant that they were wed. She's about to burst like an overripe fig.
As am I. Give me a kiss before you go.
But if I kiss my lover today, What will my husband say tomorrow? There's all the kisses you shall get.
She gives him air kisses, then exits into the Countess's room. Figaro alone walks up to the Count's bedroom door.
I perceive your purposes, Seigneur. So I am to be made your courier and sent often to the king with dispatches, while Susanna's made the ambassadress up the back stairs. I dashing hither and yon, wearing myself to a skeleton for the good of my lord's family, and he laboring night and day for the increase of mine. It shall not be. Figaro, the illegitimate, defies you.
Figaro pours the brandy into one of the crystal goblets, drinks it, then sets the glass carefully down. Slowly, he nudges it off the table to smash on the floor. Marceline and Dr. Bartolo enter.
Good morrow, Mr. Bridegroom. Don't cut yourself on the glass. Here, let me clean it up for you.
Good morrow, Mistress Marceline. No, leave it. I am surprised to see you.
Not one of those good surprises, is it?
What? Oh, what? And have you also dragged the good doctor after you all the way from Seville? Is it really you, my porcine friend?
Yes, knave's face.
As witty and no doubt as wise as ever. And have you come all this way to see me married?
To see you hanged.
Oh, most kind doctor. But who takes care of your mule? I know you have no mercy on your beasts more than you have for your patients. And who is your barber these days? You are long overdue.
Do you hear the rogue?
Perhaps you've come to recover some stolen property? Your young ward, Rosina, perhaps? Oh, I forgot. She's called Countess Almaviva here.
How dare you?
Easily. And you, gentle Marceline, do you still wish to marry me? Why do you drive me to hate you just because I cannot fall in love with you?
Do you have the money that you owe me, or are you prepared to forfeit your bond?
You must pardon me. I need to tend my lord.
See how he disrespects us.
Don't fret. We shall find a magistrate this very day and snare our Senor Fox.
They exit. Scene 2, the assignation. Susanna enters the same middle room from the Countess's bedroom, carrying a long blue ribbon.
I have forgotten what I've come in here for.
Cherubino rushes in from the hallway door.
You've catch your breath. Why are you in such a hurry?
I have been watching these 2 hours to find you alone.
Well, what have you to say now that you have found me alone?
How does my beauteous lady, Susanna?
Very well.
Have you heard that the Count is going to send me home to my mama and papa?
Poor child.
Child, indeed. And if my godmother, your dear lady, cannot obtain my pardon, I shall soon be deprived of the pleasure of your company, my fair Susanna, and have to throw myself in the river.
What, for heaven's sake, for? You were all the day toying with Fanchette, and moreover in love with my lady, and then you come rushing in here with tears in your eyes and grieving for the loss of my company.
Fanchette is kind enough to listen to me, and that is more than you do, Susanna, for all the love I bear you. And your lady is so worthy to be beloved, and so beyond my station that I stammer like an ill-trained parrot whenever we meet.
Love that you bear me? Why, you many-horned goat! You're in love with every woman you meet.
I am, and I can't help myself. If nobody is by, I swear my love to the leaves on the trees, to the summer wind even. Just now, I met this wonderful woman named Marceline in the hall, and I was instantly struck in the heart by the lightning in her eyes.
Marceline?
What's wrong with her? She is a woman.
Figaro has told me that she is a witch. Beware, she may have cast one of her love spells on you. But tell me, what did you do to infuriate the Count enough to banish you from the castle?
Last night, he caught me in Fanchette's chamber. "Begone," he said, "you little
Little what?
He called me such a name I cannot for shame repeat it before a lady such as yourself. He said that he would not tolerate such sinful scandal under the same roof as his most virtuous wife.
What were you doing in Fanchette's chamber at such an hour?
Rehearsing her part.
What part?
Her part in the commedia that we are performing at your wedding festivities tomorrow. She is to play Venus, and I, her lover, Cupid, beginning as a tableau from the Count's painting in his bedroom.
Were you both naked then?
The painting required as much.
And what do you suppose brought the sanctimonious Count to Fanchette's door so late at night? And don't you dare open the Countess's private entrance.
This is the doorway to the heavenly garden of earthly delights. I would gladly change my sex, even to change places with you, to dress her every morning, undress her every evening, putting her to bed, touching her bare shoulders to wake her, looking at her, speaking to her.
Cherubino notices the ribbon in Susanna's hand and reaches for it, which she pulls back, but teasingly dangles it in front of him.
Is it hers?
It is a most fortunate ribbon. It lives in the happy cap, which at night enfolds the auburn ringlets of my young countess.
Give it to me. Nay, give it to me. I will have it.
No, but I say you don't have it.
Cherubino chases her and snatches the ribbon.
Give it back right now.
Be as angry as you want, but you shall never have it again. You should have one of my eyes, rather.
I'll call for the Count and see how long you'll be holding his wife's ribbon.
If you do not hold your tongue, I'll kiss your mouth shut.
Kiss me? Do not come near me, or you'll lose your ears along with an eye. Beg my lady to plead for you indeed. The Count is right to remove you from the castle before you infect every woman and girl within it.
Pity rather than censure me, Susanna. How can I help myself? I only ask one favor of you.
Give the ribbon back, and I will consider it.
Take this paper and show it to your lady.
What is it?
A song. I can sing when I cannot speak.
All right, but only because you're about to be tossed out of the castle at any minute.
Cherubino hands Susanna the piece of paper and then reluctantly the ribbon after smelling it one more time.
Susanna, are you alone?
Cherubino starts to panic, running around the room, but Susanna hides him first behind her skirts when the Count enters, and then scoots Cherubino behind the barber's chair when the Count comes closer to her.
You can come in now.
Ah, ça marchand. Susanna, have I found you alone at last? But you seem frightened, my gentle dove. Of me? How can that be?
Consider, my lord, if anybody should come and catch you here.
That would be rather malappropriate, but it seems rather unlikely at this time of day.
The Count approaches to kiss her on the lips, but she manages to kiss him on both cheeks in the French manner, while shooing Cherubino behind the barber's chair. She dodges the Count's next move to hug her by swinging him down on the barber's chair with Cherubino hiding behind it.
I was feeling a bit faint in your arms.
Sit here until you recover.
The Count tries to get her on his lap, which she resists by pretending to collapse on the floor.
You know, Susanna, that when I am the king's ambassador, I intend to take Figaro with me, paying him a ridiculously high salary. And, as it is your duty as his wife to follow her husband, you will sadly have to leave my wife's service and be transferred, along with Figaro, into mine.
I really don't understand you, my lord. I thought your affection for my lady was so overpowering that you took such pains to steal her from Dr. Partola. And to confirm your devotion to her, you promised to abstain from a certain ancient privilege.
For which all of the young girls are in great sorrow, aren't they?
I...
Say no more, my sweet one, but promise me you will meet me this evening by the cherry pavilion in the garden, and be certain that if you will but grant me this small favor, you cannot ask of me for anything that I will not grant you.
At first alarmed, the Count gets up from the chair and takes a step forward. As he does so, Cherubino slips in behind him to sit in the chair, and covers himself with the barber's sheet that is on its arm. Susanna directs the Count to hide behind the chair itself. Fanchette enters, obviously pregnant, with official-looking documents in her hand, the same ones that Marceline had in the earlier scene.
Cousin, pardon me. I did knock first, as you always told me to do. Have you seen the Count? There are 3 visitors downstairs who request to meet with him as soon as possible. They gave me this note to give to him.
The Count comes out of hiding as if nothing were out of the ordinary.
Hand it to me, girl, and go immediately to tell them that I am indisposed right now, but will be down by and by.
Of course, my lord. My lord, exactly how long is by and by?
By and by is whenever I appear.
Oh, thank you, my lord, for teaching me so much. Were you 2 playing hide the slipper when I came in? Cherubino and I love that game. Please, please, please don't send him away. He's only been here a week, but already I cannot live without him.
My child, someday you will realize that by sending him away, I am saving your eternal soul. His, I fear, is far beyond salvation.
As is his own. They are like birds of a feather.
Deliver your message.
I'm so sorry. I forgot it already.
Just say, the Count will be down by and by.
The Count will be down by and by.
Not to me, to the visitors downstairs.
Oh, I shall, my lord. Faster than a mouse to its hole. Faster than...
Just be gone!
Fanchette shuffles away as quickly as she can, given her present condition.
It appears, my dear one, that Figaro, your husband-to-be and my courier-to-be, is in serious jeopardy from his previous employers. They want to prosecute for the breach of a contract that he had made with the doctor's housekeeper, Marceline, and take him back to Seville.
Well, what are we to do?
As the final authority in this region's jurisdiction, I have much sway with our local magistrate, but subverting the laws of the land comes at a price, which I may be willing to pay. That is, if you are willing to contribute your share.
And I suspect I already know what collateral I possess.
Let's negotiate a good faith deposit right now.
The Count takes her by the hand, chooses an item of clothing from the Countess for Susanna to kneel on as padding in front of the chair, and sits on Cherubino, hiding under the sheet in the chair.
Oof!
Cherubino, what the devil?
Cherubino bolts out of the chair as well and does the lowest, most obsequious bow possible for the actor, and holds it, not saying another word, for an uncomfortably long seconds.
Might I rise, my lord?
No, kowtow lower. It seems you have risen too often already. And so it was to receive this pretty youth that you were so desirous of being alone. And you... Get up, you fool!
Thank you, my lord.
And you, where are your manners? Forgetting all respect for your friend Figaro, not to mention your godmother Countess, you're endeavoring to seduce her favorite maidservant. I, however, shall protect Figaro, a man whom I esteem sincerely, to falling victim to your duplicitous assault on his intended wife.
I must intervene. Knowing that you were angry with him, the poor boy came running to me, begging me to solicit my lady on his behalf in hopes she might then engage you to forgive him. He was so terrified as soon as he heard you coming that he hid himself in the chair.
Unbelievable. For I sat down in that chair as soon as I came in.
Yes, my lord. Of course you are right, but I hid behind the chair when you first came in.
False again, for I hid myself behind it when Fanchette entered.
Pardon me, my lord, but as you approached, I retired under the sheet in the chair where you then sat on me.
You are a most irritating changeling. You're there, you're here, you're everywhere. You're like a serpent slithering into every crevice. And he has been listening to your plans.
Indeed, I did. All that I could. to not hear a word.
Figaro enters with Fanchette.
We hear Penelope and her onslaught of suitors.
Have you forgotten my cousin's name, Figaro? It's Susanna, not Penelope.
Fanchette, fetch Dr. Bartolo and his associates and bring them to my rooms as soon as possible. I feel the need of a physic.
Oh, I will, my lord. Have you tried prunes and lentils? They always work for me.
She exits through the hallway door.
Why the sad face, Cherubino? And even in the company of your beloved Fanchette?
It is because I shall never see her again. The Count has banished me from the castle.
And yet you are still here.
It is because I keep my hope alive that my Lord will forgive me my sins and grant me pardon. I confess my conduct has been rash, but I can assure your lordship that never the least word shall ever pass my lips about...
Enough, enough! Since everybody begs for him, I must grant. Instead of sending him home, I shall commission him a captain in my regiment on one condition.
I were made a soldier, I would make some in this castle dance to a different tune. Most generous, but what is the condition?
That he depart immediately for Catalonia.
A most Solomon-like decision, my lord.
Can it be tomorrow, my lord, after our wedding?
No, tonight. I meant to say it must be right now. Figaro will accompany you to the stables. If I see your face again, it is to the dungeon with you. Go kiss Susanna goodbye.
Oh, no, there's no occasion for kissing. You'll return in the winter, and in the meantime, he may kiss me.
Figaro gives Cherubino a mouth-to-mouth kiss.
Oh, I must learn to be more courteous with men.
Whoa. Your regimental scene will be changed more radically than you suppose, my boy. You won't be running upstairs and down into your lady's chamber, stealing cream and kisses and sucking oranges. Instead, you must sweat and stink and build your muscles, tan your face like leather, turn your delicate hands into claws, handle your own musket without a Fanchette's help. Turn to the right, wheel to the left, and march into hell for the greater glory of your king. Unless, of course, you are stopped short by a bullet.
As you can see, I must continue dressing. Figaro, I won't need you for the rest of the day.
The Count exits.
You must meet me tonight at the pavilion for all to end well.
And I to attend my lady.
Yes.
I can't remember. A matter of no consequence, I'm sure.
I'm not so sure, but off to your mistress, my love.
Susanna exits.
And you, my young friend, I might be able to employ with great effect. Come, let us work on recasting the Count's little commedia for this evening.
Forget Figaro. I've been ordered to leave the castle immediately or be clamped in the irons.
Ah, that's what the Count wants for you. But if you had your liberty, what would you choose for yourself?
Am I allowed to choose?
Stop being tedious. Do you wish to stay or no?
More than anything in the world.
Well, then follow my advice, and so you shall.
How? How?
Speak to no one, but get your riding boots, and I will escort you to the stables as the Count has directed. Gallop as far as the farm. Leave the horse there and return to the castle on foot, taking care that no one sees you. Then, hide in the root cellar.
I will be there waiting. What will follow?
Still nesting in my brain. But fear not, I think you will enjoy the part that I write for you. Get along now.
I shall humbly obey.
Cherubino exits. Figaro addresses the Count's bedroom door.
No, my most worthy lord and master. You have not gone to her yet. What did you once say to me? Because you are a count, you fancy yourself clever. A child could refute you. How came you to be rich and powerful? The rich and powerful Count Almaviva? Why, truly all you needed to do to attain such a lofty position in life was survive the travails of being born. By those standards, a newly birthed kitten has achieved an equal accomplishment. The obscurity and poverty of my birth, however, has given me a great advantage over you, for they required more shrewdness and athletics for daily sustenance than are required of a king to govern his entire kingdom. And what, most noble count, are your claims to distinction, to your pompous titles and preferments and immense wealth other than merely an accident of birth?
Figaro picks up a large-sized deck of 18th century playing cards, first revealing the backs to the audience.
In heaven, we are as equal cards until fate deals our hands.
He turns over the first card. It is the King of Hearts.
First, here a master.
He snaps the card on the table. He turns over another card. It is the Deuce of Spades.
There, a servant. But we have yet to discover which one of us wears the trump suit. I'm willing to wager my life that I shall win. Wilt thou, my lord, hazard yours as well?
He snaps down the deuce on top of the king, taking the trick.
I need a paper and pen for the next act to begin.
Blackout, end of Act 1. Act 2 of Figaro's Follies, Scene 1, Marceline's lawsuit. The scene opens in the Count's bedroom. Marceline and Dr. Bartolo pace back and forth. Guzman, the magistrate, is sitting on a stool, acting a bit foolishly. There's a large nude painting of Venus and Cupid over the bed.
Does it not seem odd that my revenge on Figaro's betrayal is to prevent him from marrying Susanna, and your revenge is filing a lawsuit to force him to marry you?
Since you were never willing to punish me in like manner after capturing my virginity so many years ago, what other recourse do I have? Besides, there is something about Figaro that makes him irresistible to me. Why else would I have been so foolish over the years to loan a wastrel like him so much money?
But at least you were wise enough to have him sign bonds for the repayment, or else.
The or else is a fate worse than debt. He has to marry me, and there's no way he can acquire so much money in such short notice. What do you think is taking the Count so long?
Don't worry. We have time and the law on our side, and the Count, regardless of our prior history, has no other choice but to sustain your claim. Am I not right, Magistrate Guzman?
I am not a goose, but a Guzman. But the answer to your question is that you are most unquestionably right, my most horribly good doctor. With the law and me as your advocate, what hope does truth have to prevail? The Count enters with the legal papers in his hand, which he passes to the magistrate.
Setting our former disagreements aside, explain in detail what your case is against my loyal servant, Figaro.
Blackout. Scene 2 in my lady's chamber. The setting shifts to the Countess's bedroom. What is unseen by the audience is that Cherubino is already hiding under the covers of her bed. The Countess and Susanna enter together arm in arm from the closet side of the room.
Susanna, will you please close the door? And so, Cherubino was hidden behind the barber's chair?
Yes, madam.
But how did he happen to be in your room in the first place?
The poor boy came to beg me to prevail on you to obtain his pardon of the Count.
Why did he not come to me directly? I should not have refused him a favor of that sort.
Bashfulness, madam. Oh, Susanna, says he, she is divinity itself. How noble is her manner, and so on and so forth.
Is that all true?
How can you doubt it, madam? You must have noted how besotted he is with you. He can barely stutter out a word in your presence.
He is a most absent-minded card player, but...
That is because he is so countess-minded. You should have seen with what enthusiasm he snatched your ribbon from me. He would not give it back until I promised to show you his song.
Susanna hands her the paper which the Countess puts on her nightstand.
Enough of this nonsense. You're making me blush. And so, my lord, the Count, endeavors to seduce you?
Oh, no, indeed, madam. He does not take the trouble to seduce me. He thinks he can purchase me like a black slave. And because I refuse him, I fear he will prevent or somehow make conditional my marriage with my beloved Figaro.
Knowing personally how hard Figaro worked in acquiring me on the Count's behalf, it is quite evident that my husband is a genuinely ungrateful man.
The Countess walks up and down, building up an emotion. Hyperventilating, she begins to remove her dress and loosen her corset.
Oh, a covetous and ungrateful man. Oh, open the window, will you? I am stifled for want of air. Oh, vows, protestations of love and tenderness are all forgotten. Oh, my love now offends him. He has not touched me since putting his ring on my finger, and now he becomes a noose around my neck. My caresses, even my young breasts, they seem to disgust him. Oh, I long for a man that I can give the treasures of my love to for the simple return of his love.
Cherubino, hearing her lamentations, leaps out from under the covers, having been hidden in the bed.
I shall be he.
Cherubino, for shame!
What are you doing here?
Figaro told me that I am no man's man but my own, free to do what I want.
And what is it that you dare to do in my lady's bedchambers to risk your life for it?
I wanted to say.
What do you want to say to my beauteous lady?
I wanted to say that I love her and shall love her as long as I live.
Esteem, Cherubino.
Yes, that I esteem her. I meant you.
And staring at her breasts.
Please, raise your gaze.
As long as we both shall live.
The boy is a gushing fountain of esteem and affection. As punishment for invading your private chambers, why don't you make him sing those verses that he wrote for you?
For me, I thought you implied that he had written them for you.
Well, which one of us did you scribble them for? Since he can no longer speak, command him to sing, my lady.
Pretty youth, I command you to serenade us.
Susanna takes down a guitar from the instruments hanging on the wall and gives it to him.
To the winds, to the waves, to the woods I complain. Oh, well a day, my poor heart. They hear not my sighs and they heed not my pain. Oh, well a day, my poor heart. The heavens I view with their azure bright skies. Oh, well a day, my poor heart. But heaven to me are still her bright eyes. Oh, well a day, my poor heart. To the sun's morning splendor, the poor Indian vows. Oh, well a day, my poor heart. But I dare not worship where I pay my vows. Oh, well a day, my poor heart. The name of my goddess I engrave on each tree. Oh, well a day, my poor heart. 'Tis I wound the bark, but love's arrows wound me. Oh, well a day, my poor heart.
Sweet youth, we need to help you add a verse or two to your story.
But first, you must unlock your tongue and confess which of our goddess-like names you hacked into that poor innocent tree.
Well, as on Olympus, as you know, there are many beautiful goddesses, and you both reside there.
A cleverer answer than I expected.
But which one will you give the golden apple?
To my great sorrow, my lady, I have come here without one.
Never mind. Are you also sorry that you have to quickly run off and catch up with your husband's regiment?
It frightens me. Please, madam, can you keep me hidden here? I take up such little space. I can sleep at the foot of your bed like your spaniel and warm your feet.
Oh, don't weep. My delicate youth, don't weep. Oh, Come, come, let me comfort you.
The Countess starts removing her dress.
Susanna, go to the next room and bring me one of your plainest dresses. We can disguise him as your new undermaid and delay his parting hence.
The Countess then removes his shirt and he lays his head on her breast.
Yes, madam, I shall immediately. But first I had better lock your door to keep out any tattling servants.
Susanna locks the Countess's entrance door and exits into the wardrobe.
Can you sing your song again to me?
To the winds, to the waves, to the woods I complain. Oh, well a day, my poor heart, they hear not my sigh.
Open this door!
Oh, we are both ruined if he finds you here.
The Countess impulsively kisses him, which dazes him for a moment. He jumps into the bed to hide under the covers, but the Countess pulls him out and shoves him toward the closet.
Quick, into the closet.
The Countess takes the key out of the closet door and hands it to him.
And lock yourself in. Who is it?
Who are you expecting? Open this door immediately or I'll break it down!
The Countess covers herself somewhat with the dress that she had just taken off. On her way to unlocking her outer bedroom door, she notices Cherubino's clothes on the floor and stashes them under the pillow. She unlocks.
Why is this door locked in the middle of the day?
Because, as you can see, I am alone and yet to be dressed.
Alone, I heard talking. Who were you talking to? And be more dignified.
The Count hands her a robe.
Why, to you, of course. The door must have muted the sound.
No, before I knocked. Who were you talking to? I thought I heard singing as well.
That must have been Susanna, who went off to rummage in the new room that you have so generously given her.
But you seem so agitated, madam.
Well, that is not impossible, because we were speaking of you.
Of me?
Yes, of your indifferences, your otherwise engagements and covetous jealousies.
I cannot say for indifference, my lady, and as for jealousy, you know best whether I have any cause.
My lord, you insult me. If I were a man, I would slap your face and challenge you to a duel in defense of your wife's honor.
The Count holds up the letter that Figaro anonymously had sent him.
My lady, there are people in this world who are malicious enough to wish to disturb either your repose or mine. Just this afternoon, for example, I received this correspondence that a certain thing called a lover, or gallant, or rogue, or any other title you like better, meant to take advantage of my anticipated hunting absence and insinuate himself into my castle with the objective of plundering my wife.
Oh, if this be so, I am surely the last to know of it, for I have not felt well and have kept to my room all day.
It's lucky for you, then, that your old protector, the good Dr. Bartolo, is here today. I'm sure he knows best how to treat your indispositions.
A scuffling sound is heard behind the closet door.
What noise is that?
Yeah, I heard no noise.
No? You must be most confoundedly absent, then.
Oh, to be sure, you have made me faint from your anger.
But there is somebody in your closet, madam.
Who should it be?
That's exactly what I want to know.
A rat, possibly.
A more intense rattling sound inside the door.
A trained rat, most assuredly. Did you teach it how to use a key to lock itself in to keep from being disturbed?
Oh, I remember now. Yes, before I lay down, I wanted Susanna to try on one of my dresses for tomorrow.
And there is Swiss cheese on the moon. You had just said that she was in her room.
Well, Well, she slips so quietly into her room, my room. It is all one between us.
Really, my lady, this Susanna of yours seems a most nimble kind of person.
Well, really, my lord, this Susanna of yours seems to disturb your quiet exceedingly so.
Very true, my lady. So much so that I'm determined to see her right now. Susanna! Susanna, if Susanna thou art, unlock this door and show yourself.
More noise is heard in the closet.
I will give you to the count of 10. 1.
Susanna peeks in from the other doorway, figures out the situation, gets the Countess' attention, and slips in behind the window curtain.
That is enough. Would you have the girl come out half naked? Susanna, for the sake of female decency, I order you to not unlock this door.
Much louder rattling behind the closet door.
Well, if whoever is in there won't come out on his or her own, I will get one of the servants to force open the door. Antonio!
Do, my lord, expose either your ridiculous jealousy or my outrageous adultery to your servants. Make yourself the laughingstock of the whole world.
Madam, since you will not suffer the door to be opened by any other means, will you kindly accompany me while I procure an instrument to force it myself?
To be sure, my lord. I will enjoy the look on your face when I am vindicated.
And in order that you may be fully vindicated without a speck of skepticism, I will make these doors fast.
The Count locks the door to the other room and takes the key, and locks the bedroom entrance door and takes that key as well.
As for the Susanna in the closet, she will have the opportunity to make herself decent for our imminent return.
Oh, this action greatly honors your nobility.
After she gives a sigh to Susanna hiding behind the curtain, both the Count and Countess exit through the main bedroom door.
Cherubino! Unlock the closet door, quickly. It's Susanna.
Cherubino comes out of the closet wearing one of the Countess's fancier dresses. Susanna takes the key from him.
Oh, Susanna,
Oh, my poor mistress.
what will become of her?
All will be well, I assure you. I'm more worried about my own marriage.
What will become of me?
Well, don't just stand there babbling, boy. Fly.
The doors are all locked fast. How can I?
Don't ask me. Fly.
Here is a window. Underneath is a bed of flowers. I'll leap out.
You'll break your neck.
Better than ruin my dear lady. Give me one kiss, Susanna.
Was there ever seen such a young...
Cherubino removes the dress he had on, kisses Susanna, then jumps out the window. She checks on him.
He is safe. If that boy does not make any woman's heart ache, I know not women. And now, my greedy Count, perhaps you will learn a lesson or two as well.
Scene 3, Discovery. Susanna locks herself in the Countess's closet right before the entrance of the Countess and the Count with a wrecking bar. The Count verifies that both entrance doors to the bedroom have been locked.
Everything is as I left it. Do you still persist in forcing me to break open the door? I am determined to see who is in there.
Oh, hold your hand. I confess that I have great love for another who is within this closet. Please show mercy for the love that you used to bear me. Dear one, please spare my door and show yourself. Our charade is at an end.
The sound of a key is heard in the lock. Susanna emerges from the closet.
My lord, forgive us our little jest.
But perhaps you were not alone in there.
The Count enters the closet.
Fear not, he jumped out the window.
And broken his neck.
He ran off light and swift as a greyhound.
Nobody there. Upon my soul, madam, you are a great actress. Your distress was completely believable.
And am I not also an excellent actress, my lord?
With the letter and the locked doors and your strange behavior, you can appreciate my confusion.
Appreciate may be too strong a word.
My dear Rosina.
No, I am no longer that Rosina whom you loved with such affection. I am now nothing but the pathetic Countess of Almaviva, a neglected wife, not the beloved mistress.
Nay, do not make my humiliation too severe, or I will suspect that you two are the authors of this letter to gull me for sport.
What letter?
This one.
Well, the writing is in a man's hand.
Figaro enters the bedroom.
They told me my lady was indisposed. I ran to inquire, and I'm very happy to find there's nothing to worry about.
Very attentive, Figaro.
Well, as she is your wife, it is my duty to be so, my lord. Come, come, my charmer, we must prepare for the wedding.
Just how attentive have you been to my wife, Figaro?
Oh, as a lapdog to a lap, my lord. No less than you have been to my Susanna.
You'd be better off keeping your nose away from where it doesn't belong. Where were you an hour ago when I sent for you?
Oh, maybe at the stables, putting Cherubino on his horse and pointing him in the direction of your regiment, my lord.
If I did not know that you are lying, I could have read it on your face.
Indeed, my lord. Oh, then it is my face that lies, and not I.
Gardener Antonio enters half drunk with a broken flower pot and a half-empty bottle of stout, and his daughter, Fanchette. My great lord, if you don't have the windows nailed shut, I won't have a nosegay fit for your lady. They not only throw out rubbish now, but just now they tossed out a man.
A man, just as I suspected.
In white stockings he was, and missing his shirt.
Where is this man?
That's what I want to know. If chambermaids are permitted to toss men out of windows to save their reputation, what hope is there for flowers and pots? Right, Fanchette? You wouldn't throw a man out of a window, would you?
Never have, never will.
Ah, good girl.
Shame, Antonio. Oh, for shame, drunk, almost blind, so soon of an afternoon.
What of the man?
I followed him myself, me lord, as stumbling fast as an old man could, but somehow an unlucky false step rolled me into the garden gate, and I sort of forgot my errand. As my niece Susanna can avow, I am a man of great diligence, and no stranger to catching angry geese. Can I make a toast to her good fortune on the day before her wedding day?
What of the man? Should you know this man again?
To be sure I should, my lord. If I'd had seen him, that is.
Either speak more plainly, you old fool, or I'll send you packing.
Send me packing? Oh, no. If your lordship is not enough to know where you have a good gardener, I know when I've got a good place.
There is no occasion, my lord, for threatening my uncle-to-be. I shall solve this mystery for you. It was I who jumped out of the window into the garden.
You?
C'est moi.
Jump out of a two-story window?
Oh, well, the ground was soft, yes. I did hurt my right leg, just a little. Just here, the ankle, you know.
But what reason had you to jump out of the window?
Figaro, if it was you, you've grown awfully fast within the last half hour. The man that I saw did not seem so tall by a full head and shoulders.
Well, but does not one double oneself up when one jumps?
It seemed he was a great deal more like milady's godson, Cherubino.
Oh, sure. Cherubino galloped all the way to the regiment and back again, horse and all, to leap out of this window.
I'll swear me life on it. I saw no horse leap out of that window.
Well, there it is then. Come on, Susanna, let us make preparations for the wedding.
Well, Figaro, since it was you after all, I ought to return this paper which dropped out of your pocket as you fell. Now grab the paper out of Antonio's hands.
Ah, since it was you doubtless can tell us what this paper contains.
Oh, was that, my lord? I always carry such quantities of paper on my person. Here is a petition from the poor poacher whose whole family is starving while he is in your prison. I knew you had affairs much more serious on your hands to attend to. So here's a whole handful of bills from your tailor, your lordship's ruffles and robes that have not been paid in over a year.
Figaro keeps glancing toward Susanna and the Countess for some clue about the contents of the letter.
We know it's not those.
It's Cherubino's commission.
Susanna knocks the candle off the table. When she and Figaro stoop to pick it up, she whispers to him,
It's the commission.
Well, it appears you know nothing of the matter.
Oh, Lord! What a stupid fool am I! It is the officer's commission for that pathetic boy Cherubino.
Then tell me how you came by it. Why did he give it to you?
To what?
To get what? It wants nothing.
Figaro desperately looks to the Countess and Susanna for help, who look over the Count's shoulder. The Countess pounds her fist over her palm as if stamping a seal.
Rock?
A rock?
Susanna quickly mimes a seal.
A seal on a rock. It's customary, my lord.
Stop the gibberish! It's customary to do what?
Susanna mimes stamping the paper.
To affix your lordship's official seal on such an important document.
The Count closely inspects the paper.
Devil and his imps take you all. Fine chat. Tell the doctor, Marceline, and the magistrate to meet me in the Great Hall at 3 this afternoon.
Going, my lord, without getting orders for our wedding?
My most astute Figaro, it had slipped my mind, but there is a matter that needs to be resolved before you and Susanna can make wedding plans. We can meet at 3 this afternoon in the Great Hall to properly adjudicate this matter.
The Count exits, as does Fanchette and Antonio.
Susanna, would you come with me to pick out a dress for this evening?
The Countess exits into the wardrobe room.
In one moment, my lady. A seal on a rock? Really?
You know, doing in the Countess's bedchamber with the two of you.
Singing.
So I put my position with the Count in peril so that Cherubino could be safe to sing in his lady's chambers? None of this bodes well for us. I did not like the way the Count pronounced properly adjudicate just now.
Susanna, are you coming?
Yes, my lady. Know, my love, that I will do everything in my power to secure both our marriage and our positions.
Susanna exits and Figaro addresses the audience.
Everything. That's exactly what I fear the most. Do you suppose that I am forever doomed to the football of fortune? Son of who knows who, stolen I know not how, along with this ring, which I wear always like a birthmark under my shirt. Lying and thieving expected, I did have the innate good sense to escape a life so base as my infernal gypsy captors led. When I was younger, I had the courage of an ape. Took what I needed when I needed and daring down the consequences. My genius, though cramped, would not be subdued, and I spent what little money I had on books and study. I stole learning from wherever I could snatch it, plucking it out of the air tucked in the corner of bookshops. I even had the audacity to attempt writing a comedy myself. But as I had the greater audacity to attack the favorite vice of the favorite mistress of the favorite minister, I was rewarded by giving free lodging, with straw, bread, and water, included in one of our nation's most illustrious dungeons. After I was released, I decided on a second, safer berth in the lap of the barbering trade. Then, as fortune would have it in Seville, I cut the hair of a lord who was madly in love with a beautiful young girl already spoken for. My wit procured for him what his could not, and in return he now most gracefully honors me by seducing my future wife, who, to demonstrate her great love for me, so she says, smilingly steps into his crude trap. That foolish little animal who had given me such joy that I had never experienced before. Vanished. But have you really vanished, my sweet Susanna, or is that an illusion as well? Are husbands and wives and servants and masters as interchangeable as different hands pulling the puppet's strings?
Blackout. End of Act 2. Act 3. Scene 1. Plot and counterplot. Susanna is brushing the Countess's hair in her bedroom, while Fanchette knocks and immediately enters carrying a letter.
Madam, pardon my existence, but Figaro told me that I was to deliver only to you personally this letter from my lord, your husband, the Count of Almaviva.
Did you forget his royal ambassador to England title?
And royal ambassador to Finland.
Close enough. Thank you, Fanchette. And while the doctor is here, you should ask him about your condition.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't keep any food down, and yet I keep getting rounder and rounder.
Oh, don't worry, dear cousin. It's a common ailment, especially among actresses and young housemaids who work in this castle.
Fanchette takes her leave along with stealing some perfume from the Countess's dresser.
Susanna, it seems that our little escapade today has produced some good results.
How so?
This letter from my husband, in most affectionate terms, pleads with me to appear around midnight to meet him in the Plum Pavilion, and he further states that I am to send my reply to him only through Fanchette, a clandestine go-between. Oh, isn't that romantic? Oh, I blush with anticipation.
I don't want to douse your blushes with water, but as your dearest companion, I must confess that I also received such a letter from your husband earlier today, arranging a secret assignation this evening in the Cherry Pavilion.
Of you, I don't believe a word you are saying.
Do you believe this?
Susanna holds up the pin that the Count used to fasten the letter to her.
It is one of his favorites.
In his letter, he asked me to wear it as a sign of consenting to the arrangement.
Well, and of course, you will refuse for my sake.
Or should I accept, seemingly so to be sure, and you as well, and snare him in his own nets? He apparently is debauched and deluded enough to think that he can have us both, one after the other, or together as if he were breeding cattle.
There's one obvious solution.
What's that?
The Countess picks up a pair of scissors.
Let's take the bull by the balls and snip, snip, snip. So wear this pin this afternoon in the Great Hall tonight, and tonight I shall dress in your clothes, and you in mine, and you shall go to the Plum Pavilion, and I to the Cherry.
We shall out-trick that trickster.
Susanna carefully takes the scissors from the Countess's hands and puts them aside.
The Count rather did look like a bull when he was going to crash down the closet doors to get at my faceless lover. But Cherubino does have a face, doesn't he, Susanna? Oh, as beautiful as any in an Italian painting. Oh, I do so pray that the impending war will neither mar nor harden it.
I do believe that you are falling in love with Cherubino.
Oh, no, I think not with him, but definitely I love his face.
Then get him to a portrait artist as quickly as possible, and you shall have love everlasting.
Oh, no, we have other business to attend to first. Bring me the clothes that you are going to wear this evening, and collect some of mine. We can also make good use of these masks. Then call Fanchette. I am writing my reply to my loving husband.
Lights fade out. Scene 2, Figaro's trial. Lights fade back in on Figaro beginning to shave the Count in the dressing room's barber chair.
Come. Be sincere. Tell me, how much did the Countess give you for lying about jumping out of her window?
As much as your lordship gave me for helping him steal her.
Why are there always so many elements of mystery in your words?
Because the words and motives of others are so mysterious.
Appearances, my dear Figaro.
Oh, appearances are frequently false. I, for example, am much better than I appear to be. Can the nobility in general say as much? Or do they need to be pruned down to their proper size?
Enter.
Fanchette enters.
Is that Fanchette?
The doctor, Marceline, and the magistrate.
Let them wait.
I let them wait.
And do you expect to gain your cause?
With the assistance of justice and my lord's good wishes. You respect youth too much yourself to force others to wed with age.
Really? You can read my mind so easily? You are aware that a judge can know no distinction of persons.
Unless there is more gold on one side of the scales than on the other, that is.
Fanchette, tell everyone to meet me in the great room in a few minutes. I need to compose myself.
Susanna enters.
What are you doing here?
The Countess requires the Count's smelling bottles.
Figaro exits with Fanchette.
Are you in ill humor?
A gadfly keeps biting me. But your presence brings me great relief.
My lady has sent me for your lordship's smelling bottles. She has the vapors and has taken to her bed.
Here it is. And when she has done with it, you may return it to borrow it for yourself.
Oh, no. The vapors is too noble a disease for a mere servant to aspire to.
Fits may come to anyone. Love so intense as yours cannot bear much disappointment. And when Figaro marries Marceline...
Well, suppose the worst judgment. We can pay Marceline with the portion your lordship has promised us.
I promised you a portion?
If my ears did not deceive me, I understood as much a while back.
Your recent coyness has put me into doubt.
It's never too late to admit one's emotional weaknesses, my lord.
Well, what does that mean? Will you take a walk this evening in the garden by the cherry pavilion or not?
Do I need to speak it? Did you not note the pin that I am wearing?
No more equivocations. Let us understand one another. No pavilion, no marriage.
And no marriage, no pavilion, my lord.
Touché. A touch on both sides. But tell me, why have you always resisted a definite response like this morning, for instance?
This morning, my lord, with Cherubino behind the chair.
I had forgotten. Will you go now and tell Figaro all?
Well, to be sure, my lord. I always tell him all, except what is necessary to conceal.
What a charming cat you are. Run quickly back to your mistress. She's waiting and may suspect us.
I shall immediately.
Susanna exits.
She absolutely entrances me. I had sworn to think no more of her, but she winds me as tightly as she pleases, even now.
Lights fade out and then fade in on the great hall set up for Figaro's trial. Unbeknownst, Cherubino is secreted behind one of the curtains. Let me interrogate the facts for our noble judge. Count Almaviva, Marceline, you are the persecutor in this case. Will you expound for the court?
I shall be happy, Monsieur Magistrate, to explain the justice of my cause.
First, we shall examine the case verbally.
There is a promise of marriage.
I comprehend, given by you to...
No given to me, and a certain sum of money,
which you have received,
which I have lent.
and it had been repaid.
No, it has definitely not been repaid, which is why we are all here in front of the judge, our lordship.
Oh, I comprehend. And the defensiveness man, Figaro, over there, will marry you as proposition and then pay you the money he owes you.
No, no, no. He will neither marry me nor has he any money to pay me.
You think I don't comprehend you?
Your lordship, is there anything you can do about this imbecile?
I take offense at that accusation, your lordship. You yourself elevated me to the rank of Mora not 6 months ago.
That may have been a rash decision. Marceline, since this is a domestic case, I shall direct Monsieur Guzman to simply read your claim.
As you command. Plaintiff Marceline Jane Maria Angelica Mustachio, spinster, against Figaro Anonymous. I never heard the surname Anonymous before.
It means he has no father. He's a bastard.
What profession, Figaro?
Gentlemen.
It's blank. Oh, gentlemen? Oh.
Gentlemen indeed.
All right, then. Just put down possible prince.
Put down barber. And on with it, or I'll demote you back to idiot.
Against Figaro Anonymous Barber. The question before the court relates to a promise of marriage given as bond for the repayment of a debt accumulated to 2,000 escudos, borrowed over a 5-year period by the defendant from the plaintiff.
Cut to the point of contention. Read the appended promise of marriage.
I acknowledge to have received of Marceline Mustachio the sum of 2,000 escudos during service to the residence of Dr. Bartolo, which sum I promise to repay to the said Marceline Mustachio, and to marry her upon termination of that service. Signed, Figaro.
Figaro, do you contest the validity of the bond?
I can see that. No. There is in this case either fraud, error, malice, or mischief, for the actual words of the acknowledgement here are, I promise to repay said amount, or to marry her, which is very different.
I witnessed the document signing. See my initials on the bottom there? And I affirm the word is and.
And I affirm that the doctor is an inept forger. As you can see, the word or has been scratched out and crudely written over.
The document must have been damaged in its transport.
I will accept that as a concession on the part of the doctor and render my decision after conferring with the magistrate.
This whispering forebodes me no good. I suspect that Susanna has corrupted our chief judge.
It looks devilishly like it.
The silence in the court.
The judgment of the court is that the promise of marriage is disjunctive rather than conjunctive. It is the opinion of the court that the logic of the agreement and the disparity of the two parties makes it obvious that the original word was intended to be or rather than and. Therefore, Figaro is permitted to dispose of his own person.
Days my own.
I expected that the bias of the court would roll in Figaro's direction.
But, as the acknowledgment now clarified clearly states, which sum I promise to pay said Marceline Mustachio or to marry her, the defendant Figaro is ordered to pay the sum of 2,000 escudos to the plaintiff within the next 24 hours or marry her, if the appellant still so wishes.
I'm undone.
He is mine at last.
And I am finally revenged.
What have you done?
I've just purchased insurance for your appearance tonight. The advantage is in my court, ma chérie.
Everyone leaves the great hall with the exception of Figaro, who finally prevents Marceline from dragging him away with her.
How could I lose to that fungus goose man?
Cherubino leaps out from behind the curtains.
All is not lost. Cherubino is here.
You are the chief cause of the Count's suspicions and anger with me. I have been looking all over the castle for you.
Are you going to join the regiment with me?
I'll tell you what I'm going to do with you.
Figaro takes Cherubino by the ear and marches him off stage. Scene 3, The Two Counts. The setting for the final two scenes is the castle garden at midnight and dawn of the next day. Figaro enters carrying 2 painting easels and 2 placards, one with Cherry Pavilion written on it and the other with Plum Pavilion on it. He sets each one up in front of the appropriate love pavilion and lights candles to illuminate each.
In these hard times, I am pressed to serve as prop master, prompter, chorus, and author of this sad farce. How I wish I could change it to a merry one, but never has there been an author so compromised by his actors, one actress in particular. Oh, woman inconstant, driven by the moon, woman. But each animal is obliged to follow the instincts of its nature, and it's woman's nature to betray. What, while swearing this morning to remain ever faithful, she is plotting to betray me before the night is past, on the very eve of our wedding. I may be a man equal to my lord, but the nocturnal spells of that enchantress woman soon may transform me into a monster. There appears to be something missing.
Figaro strikes himself lightly on the head and goes off stage to lead Cherubino back in by the ear.
Ow, that hurts, Figaro.
Someone is coming.
The Count appears, double-checking the pavilion signs. He enters the Cherry Pavilion. The Countess appears, dressed in Susanna's clothing, wearing a mask. She stops at the signs and moves a candle closer to read it. She enters the Cherry Pavilion as well.
Faithless Susanna. I wish I had enough gunpowder to blow them both to hell.
Gong, gong, gong. Church bell strikes midnight. Susanna appears dressed in the Countess's clothes and wearing a mask. Both should also be wearing mantillas from Act 1. She at first approaches the Cherry Pavilion in the dark, stops, reads the sign, then changes direction toward the Plum Pavilion, but pauses before entering. She finally enters at the 12th bell is rung.
Beware, my Countess Dove. I'm about to loose my falcon. Wake up, Cherubino. This is your cue. Do not doubt your worthiness, my boy. Your costume has transformed you into a lord.
I shall not disappoint my lady.
How chivalrous of you.
Cherubino sprints toward the Cherry Pavilion. The Figaro has to run after him and redirect him to the Plum Pavilion.
My directorial job is done. I need to rest for tomorrow's final act.
Figaro lies down to sleep, covering himself with a cloak. The lights dim to blackout. Scene 4, Figaro's salvation. The lights gradually come up to simulate dawn. Antonio and Fanchette enter from the open V between the two pavilions. They are dressed for a celebration. They discover Figaro still sleeping under his cloak near the topiary and wake him. Awaken, Figaro! It's your wedding day!
You not heard about the outcome of my case?
Oh, everyone has heard it. I can't sort it all out, though. But the one thing I know for certain, Whichever the bride will be, you will be the groom. Marceline Bartola and a priest in a cassock enter.
There is my husband.
Marceline lifts Figaro off the ground and holds him in her arms like a sack of flour.
I wish my Cherubino was here to embrace me.
The Count emerges from the cherry pavilion with a white scarf around his neck.
What is all this noise about?
I have brought the priest to get married as quickly as possible before Figaro slips through my fingers once again.
Figaro, have you now or are you likely to have by 3 o'clock today the requisite sum to redeem your bond?
Oh, you already know the answer to that.
Well then.
The Countess, still dressed in Susanna's clothes and masked, emerges from the cherry pavilion.
What is this, my lord?
We had hoped to protect your honor, but then here it is. Unbeknownst to you, Susanna had approached me recently about reversing my previous decision and exercising my rights of the seigneur of the manor to attest to her virginity in the traditional manner. And you'll be pleased to know, Figaro, that she was indeed a virgin, a most delectable one at that. You are a lucky man, my friend.
The Count places the white scarf around his neck. While he is doing this, Susanna, dressed as the Countess and also masked, emerges from the other pavilion and stands there in silent witness.
And, my lord, you'll be relieved that your wife knows what kind of husband she has married.
What are you talking about?
Cherubino enters dressed as the Count, but still masked, standing next to Susanna, dressed as the Countess.
And who the hell is that?
I must give up the drink. I'm seeing 2 counts.
So am I, Father.
The Count removes Cherubino's mask.
You! It is always you! Damn you and my dishonored wife!
Susanna bows, still in the guise of the
My
Countess.
coveted lord.
Well, Figaro, at least I have beaten you to Susanna's maidenhead.
Susanna now unmasks.
I think not, my lord.
Then who is playing Susanna's part?
The Count turns to take the mask off the Countess.
The only person you should be making love to, your wife.
Oh, I'm really confused now.
My lord, I am pleased to echo your earlier announcement to the wide world that your wife has indeed been a virgin up until last evening, and so I trust as my wife.
Figaro takes the white scarf off the Countess and puts it around Susanna's neck.
See, appearances sometimes do hide realities, don't they, my lord? And fortunately, there is a priest in attendance to hear your confession, just in case you were about to be struck dead by God's righteous indignation.
These strange events may well strain even God's absolution.
But Rosina's forgiveness is what I first must seek. Can you forgive me, my lady Countess? It certainly would be a most unmerited pardon.
I shall, on 2 conditions, my husband. First, that you extend that same pardon to my godson, Cherubino, for all of his youthful transgressions and rescind his banishment from the castle.
So granted him that pardon, but I fear his impetuosity will someday become my undoing.
So shall I grant mine to you. But there is another condition as well.
And what is that?
That you sing the song that first won my heart in Seville, when that poor Lindor fellow was made rich only by his love for me. For truly, this is the first day of our marriage.
Thy will be done. Figaro, you owe me an accompaniment.
Fanchette finds Figaro a guitar, and then Count Almaviva begins singing haltingly at first, trying to remember the lyrics, then with fuller voice.
Je suis l'indole encore. Behold your lover fearful grown. All his fond hopes are chased away. He does adore you while yet unknown, but now your will he dreads to obey. In me a humble youth behold, with me a humble lot you'll prove. I've neither titles, gems, nor gold, yet I am passing rich in love. Here poor Linda shall chant his refrain, and morn, noon, at eve, at night. And though his vows prove all in vain, your beauty shall ever bless his sight.
The Count and Countess embrace.
But I do not pardon you, Figaro, for your part in the creation of this humiliating charade. Never forget that I am your irreducible reality. Come here, Marceline. No money, no marriage to Susanna. No money, until death do you part, marriage to Marceline.
See, I told you Figaro would be married today. Figaro desperately pulls a ring out from under his shirt on its chain from around his neck.
Marceline, please have mercy on me. Pawn this ring and accept it as down payment on what I owe. I cannot live without Susanna.
How came you by this ring?
It is my entire patrimony. I've had it from infancy.
Doctor, do you not recognize this ring? It is the very one that you gave me on the birth of our son, Fernando. I had this chain made so he could wear it as a talisman against evil spirits of the night.
It cannot be. Did you not buy this from some passing gypsy?
Oh, it is all I had when they took me and all I took with me when I escaped.
Figaro, Fernando, rather. Behold thy mother.
And there behold thy father.
He, my father? Oh, Lord, what a mixture of salvation and damnation.
Have you never felt our shared natures pleading within you to be attracted to me?
No, never.
That must have been the secret cause of my unrelenting fondness for you.
No doubt, since I tried so hard to repel you. Come to think on it, maybe that was the cause of my aversion, since you appear so lovely to me now.
Susanna, embrace thy mother, the mother who will love you dearly.
Now I am amazed. And you consent that I shall have your Figaro free and clear?
Willingly. Here, my son, here is your first wedding present, the promise completely satisfied.
Marceline tears up the promissory note.
My manly pride would fain make me restrain my tears lest they flow in spite of me. Well, let them flow. Joys like these never come twice. Oh, my Susanna. Oh, my family.
Figaro embraces the good doctor, Marceline, and Susanna, who breaks away.
Dear friends, we shall conclude our play on this very note. Figaro brought to tears of joy at such a moment too long remember. Much more so than his endless interrogations of me about what Cherubino and I were doing to pass our time in the pavilion while he slept. We will reserve that dialogue for another play on another day. But before our follies are ended this night, please pardon our errors and forgive any slight, so you can clap, sing, and have the chance to join with us in our wedding dance.
Begin the French folk dance. End of play. Boom, boom. J.e.freed's Figaro's Follies was produced by Triad Showcase Theatre. Figaro was played by Paul Roder. Susanna was played by Kathleen Barnaby. Count Almaviva was played by David Loftus. Countess Almaviva was played by Beth Whistler. Cherubino was played by Amanda Cobb. Dr. Bartolo was played by George Taylor. Marceline was played by Nancy Moss. Vanchette was played by Autumn Bateman. Beaumarchais is narrator. Antonio Guzman and the priest was played by John Freed. Synopsis. Audiences for Figaro's Follies, no Mozart's opera, will find that they are in very familiar territory here and might well agree with Napoleon, who said of Beaumarchais' original, La Mariage de Figaro, "It is the revolution already in action." The playwright's primary goal in re-rendering the societal emergence of civil liberties for all paradigm-shifting 1784 play was to preserve it by turning it into a much more watchable, well-made one, while retaining its main late 18th century motifs, characters, and very laughable, farcical plot elements in the David Ives tradition. His other goal in this translation adaptation was to follow the advice transported across the galaxy by aliens and given to Woody Allen in Stardust Memories. You want to make the world a better place? Tell funnier jokes. Lexi Diamond, Brown University, Trinity Repertory Company's associate literary manager, commented to the author, "On a personal note, I want to tell you how much I enjoyed reading Figaro's Follies. I thought it was a fabulous adaptation and that it both honored and enhanced its source material. Its cleverness and vitality made it a joy to read."